Ahead and get started now. This is Chris Roper. Chris Roper works for the Quapaw tribe. He's very much a part of our construction and agricultural production and work that we're doing right now. We've got a few slides we're going to show, but we're going to talk to you a little bit today or now about what the Quapaws are doing today. We're really in a big growth spurt right now. Like I said earlier when we spoke, that we're no longer a full direct service tribe. We're a self-governance tribe. And we have really gotten into a lot of things. This is a picture of our coffee roasting facility. It's one of our latest units to come online at Downstream Casino Resort. We go through tons of coffee, as you might imagine, and we decided that we would roast our own so we could have total control over the quality and the all aspects of it, and also create a job or two. Where all of the coffee served in our restaurants on the floor and to our employees comes from our roaster. This is one of our greenhouses. We have a large complex with four big greenhouses. We grow like 31 herbs for our spa. We grow a lot of heirloom tomatoes and peppers and carrots and vegetables that we serve in our restaurants. We're very much about not using any kind of chemicals. We use honeybees to pollinate the plants. And so, along with the growth of our agriculture, our honeybee production has grown tremendously also. We have approximately 100 hives. We don't know where it's going to end, but we continually add hives. We use the honey in our restaurants, in our spa, and eventually we will sell both coffee and honey once we get enough production to surpass our current needs. When they also, within our greenhouse, they do all of the starting plants for our grounds, whether they're, all the flowers around our casino, all the tropicals on the inside of the casino we grow and start. And so it's a very robust department. There's probably about 10 employees in that department, and they're very dedicated to what we're trying to do in our vision. And just really we want to have beautiful plants, and our food we want to make the safest, most nutritious, and cleanest product that we can make. And we also are trying to bring back some heirloom seeds. We're working on some Quapaw red corn right now, and we're trying to source other heirloom seeds that other Native American tribes have protected in their programs, and we're trying to add that on a regular basis. This is a picture of Tom Hardcastle, our cowboy. We have several cowboys. We have a registered Black Angus production where we have mama cows, bulls, and calves. We currently have been feeding them in Nebraska and killing them in Colorado, but we're about a third of the way or a quarter of the way in the development of about a $12 million processing plant and kill facility. We have the building itself erected, and it's being dried in as we speak. And we will then kill and process bison, not only for the Quapaw tribe, but for other tribes in the United States. There's a big market right now for bison. There's not a lot of people that process bison, so we're trying to fill that niche. We're working with the USDA. We're working with Missouri State, University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Oklahoma State University, and Northeast Oklahoma State University. We first bought our genetics from a ranch, the oldest ranch in the state of Oklahoma, the Spur Ranch. But recently we bought a herd from Percy Malone and Donna Malone from Arkadelphia, which are probably some of the finest animals we've ever seen in our lives together. The Donna was in charge of the genetics for their family herd, and she's very intelligent and did a great job. And we've just really increased the genetic value of our herd by purchasing these 300 animals from them. We have approximately 1,000 cows right now.
We're up to about 1,000 head currently.
So, then we have calves in different stages of life, and then we have bulls. So it's becoming a very big deal for the tribe. We don't use any hormones. We don't use antibiotics past a certain age. You have to, with a purebred animal, you have to use some antibiotics when the babies are young because they're not as vigorous as crossbred animals. But we create what we think is the most healthy, best tasting steak you could buy in the United States. Our hamburger's unbelievable. We make meat sticks. We make a lot of different products, and we use 100% of the animal. And we've been taking, like I said, to Colorado and Nebraska and other places, but all of that will soon be done in-house. We'll have a very active training for meat cutters and people for packing meat. We're working with Reese's grocery store and some other grocery chains to eventually train their meat cutters for them. And it's going to be a really sort of a learning facility as well as of jobs, and a really great way to get kids interested in agriculture by making sure it's a sustainable and healthy form of production that we're doing. We work with a lady named Temple Grandin. Some of y'all may have heard of her. She's autistic. She's a PhD professor from the Colorado State University in Fort Collins. She's been to our site many times. We talk on the phone regularly, and she helps us with management, and all our facilities are designed by Temple, and she works with us, and we help her with some ideas of things that we've introduced into her designs that make them even more efficient. And it's a lot of fun. We really enjoy it. Chris and I always laugh. We both grew up in the cattle farms, but we now get to buy stuff that we only wish we could have back when we were kids. So we have really nice stuff, really great animals, and it's a real pleasure working with them because they're just beautiful animals just to look at. And the bison are unbelievable. We're members of the Intertribal Bison Cooperative, which is a group of about 70 tribes that raise bison. We get them free. We bought some from a herd out of Oklahoma City to start with, but we now get them from the Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and the different federal entities that manage bison on an annual basis. They cull out their herds depending on the forage, and we're one tribe that gets to go and pick up some of the when they're trying to thin their herds. All we have to do is pay for the transportation. It's really growing. They're beautiful animals. Usually they just calve every other year, but because of our treatment of them, they calve usually every year, which is really a nutrition and a quality of care based deal. It's really a lot of fun, and we provide a lot of meat to the local Quapaw schools. We give them a lot of beef. A lot of kids, as you all know, as teachers, they don't get good nutrition. So we spend a lot of money giving a lot of local schools and food banks protein for kids so that they could study better and pay better attention in class. And we're the providers of very high quality prime and choice beef to young kids that wouldn't get meat if they didn't get it from their school system to the Quapaw tribe. We give away about 20 tons of beef per year to the local food banks. We even give some to the food bank in Arkansas. We give them to the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank and 5 food banks in our area in Joplin and Miami. And we give away between 500,000 to 1 million cans of food a year. We have twice a year, we take several semis of cans to food banks. One the week before, or the time between Christmas and Thanksgiving, when the food banks are sort of depleted, and Thanksgiving we recharge them for Christmas. And then in June, when they're kind of forgotten, we fill them up again. So we have a regular run every 6 months that we work with Springfield grocers. They sell us canned food for 50 cents a can, and they provide the truck, transportation, and the driver to deliver it, which is a pretty good deal for us. And we deliver all that to to hopefully people that are in need. And we really like to target children in our efforts to get them the good nutritional products for their lives. We also do backpacks where we fill them with beef sticks and school supplies that we give to the local schools. So we're very much not only about creating economies based on agriculture, but helping our community through the products that we produce in our agricultural business to benefit young people so they can pay better attention and have a healthier lifestyle while they're in school.
We're able to work with the area universities as well, and we have internships in our agricultural program. We currently have 2 agricultural interns, and we have 2 environmental interns. So they can work with us on cleaning up the environmental sites that John spoke about earlier. We go in and we remediate the soil. We remove all the mining waste. We test the soil in hopes of returning it ultimately back to agriculture, whether it's our land, a tribe member's land, or public land. We remediated last year about 150 acres, and we're able to put that back into grazing land. With our cattle program, we use some state-of-the-art technology that we're also able to train with and train students on. We're able to work with several universities with their meat science and animal science programs. We ultrasound our cattle so that we know the predicted outcome of that animal. So after about 90 days of feeding, we'll ultrasound those animals and we'll put them into a particular feed path. Those animals are determined to whether they will hit prime or choice, and that will determine how long they stay on feed and where that product will ultimately end up. So we're really technology driven now, more than what it was even 20 years ago. And we're very, very proud to be able to work with the universities, the local school kids, and not only to give meat back, but to be able to provide educational facilities that the students can come to. So we're very proud of that.
In all of our animals, the bison and the beef, they have chips in their ears, which not only gives us information, but it stores information. Our bison are separated from genetically pure to some that have bovine in them. You can't tell by looking at them. You can only do it by doing a hair test on their tail hair. So whenever we get new bison in, we test them genetically. You can't really tell the difference, but we have 2 separate herds. One, they're all purely genetically pure bison, and then we have a herd that has some bovine. And we'll probably continue that with the hopes that we'll preserve a genetically pure herd for the future for people to take advantage of. But everything that we do is recorded and electronically. They're weighed often. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but the end product is so high quality. It's really unbelievable. When we first killed and ground up our first steers at our casino, we took our best-selling, best-tasting hamburger patty and cooked them side by side with our own that we raised. And God, it tasted like dog food, the one that we thought was a great hamburger compared to this beef that we raised ourselves. It's really dramatically different in the texture, the smell, the flavor, the consistency, how it cooks. It's just really changed our whole thought process and how we feed them, manage them, and care for them. We don't use any electric prods on them. We don't beat on them. We don't, scare them. We take a lot of time, and it takes a while to find cowboys that are willing to go down that path. A lot of cowboys are pretty hard on the animals, and they don't last very long with us because we demand that they have to be kind to them and treat them with kid gloves. And the guys that we have now are really learning that there's a benefit to treating them that well. So I mentioned the bees. We're also something, this is sort of where Chris works. We have our construction company in this building. It's an interesting story about the building. We bought the building from the Eastern Shawnee tribe for $450,000. We closed on like a Wednesday. we put all of our construction equipment in it on a Friday. On Sunday, it got wiped out by a tornado. And with insurance, we now have about a $6 million building that we're able to turn our insurance in and turn it into a really nice facility. So we always tease.
With a little retail shop.
Yeah, we have a little retail shop where we sell our beef products locally. And as we get our production facility up and running, our goal is to have a more broader-based marketing effort to sell our high-end beef products throughout our region.
Some of the benefactors of our products are our own daycare centers. We have 2 daycare centers. They're kind of on different sides of the county, so employees and tribe members are able to take their kids there. Each daycare has about 100 kids. We provide all the beef and the bison to those daycares, so those kids they definitely have good proteins, and they also get some of the canned goods from the canned good program that we have.
And then we have a senior Title VI program, which is a federal program where we feed elderly. We do Meals on Wheels. We've replaced 100% of their protein on the meat side to bison. The people absolutely love it. It's a healthier product. It's got better amino acids in it for digestion and health. And we've made it possible for our Title VI director not to have a line item in her budget for beef or meat for protein, and we've filled a huge void for her. And we serve a couple hundred meals a day.
Plus a Meals on Wheels program that does about 100 a day as well, on top of the in-house meals. And these are open to the public, so
it's not all Indian people that we serve. It's a community.
So you've seen some of the mining pictures. These areas have been revitalized, and some of these new facilities or newer facilities that we have are able to act as community type facilities. And we get a lot of local people that will come here and have lunch, and it's a very affordable. It's $5 lunch for anyone outside the tribe. So not very many places you can go to get a $5 meal that's hot and quality product.
We just recently introduced goats into our herds. So we have bison running with goats. And it's funny, they chase each other. Those goats will chase the bison, and they'll run like little puppies, and then they'll turn around and chase the goats. But when the goat gets caught by the bison, it usually doesn't last long.
Yeah, but that's part of it's
they step on them accidentally.
Yeah, that has happened once, but that's part of a holistic agriculture program that we're building. The goats provide benefits for weed control, which eliminates the need for pesticides. The goats are eating forage that the bison won't necessarily eat, and the same for the cattle herds. The bison or the goats will eat briars and brush and things like that, so we can naturally clean up property without having to spend money on the harmful pesticides. We really have to watch with our bee program. You don't want to put other outside pesticides out that are going to harm the bees. So when you think of the whole program, that's why they're all working together. And we're working on some other really neat things that we're hoping to increase carbon capacity in the soil. We're working with some scientists out of Arizona State. They're doing research in Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, all over the United States, and they're really, and a lot of big corporations are getting behind that. So, it's something that is more natural and better for the environment. This next slide is a section from our elder housing. This is something we're getting ready to add onto, but we have 3 units right now that are duplexes. They're very, very nice units. There's a need in our area for quality housing, and we want to continue to grow that program as well. We actually have our own housing authority. The picture's a little bit blurry, but we have a crew of people that manage the elder housing we have, as well as managing current housing that tribe members might have, or assistance programs that are out there. If there's a tribe member in need, then the housing authority can go out and take care of their particular need. Fire and EMS, the Quapaw tribe by far has the largest and best equipped fire and EMS in Northeast Oklahoma. They provide fire and EMS coverage for the whole northeastern part of the state. And when there is an emergency in other areas, the tribe does send forces out to help. For instance, wildfires, disasters that may happen, such as tornadoes. During the Joplin tornado, the Quapaw tribe was there to assist all the different agencies, as well as providing water, shelter. I know they opened up the one of our hotels to house tornado victims.
And we did the 911 calls for the city of Joplin for 5 weeks while they were getting sort of back online. We also have another thing Temple Grandin is helping us with. Within the Marshal Service and the casino, we have a dog program. We have a couple veterans from the 75th Ranger Regiment that were dog handlers in Afghanistan in combat. So we're trying to create jobs for combat veterans, and we're using these dogs. We have dogs that for our concerts can smell if someone has a gun on them. So we have dogs in our casino that could smell unspent cartridges, so they could, like, we could tell if you have a gun on you. We also have dogs that can smell bombs. So we're constantly checking our parking lots for bombs and guns. We have a set of dogs that we're training to sniff out Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and Campy. It's airborne food bacteria that are pathogens that eventually we hope to be able to use them in a commercial setting to provide safety in the food side of it. E. coli is pretty bad in our food throughout the United States, like Chipotle had all their problems. We think we could have solved their problems by using our dogs. Our dogs right now can smell down to 2 cc's of salmonella. If you just squirt it on it's like a sponge and hit it, they can find it. We're wanting to get them down to about 1/10 of what that is, and they're reacting very well. They're very highly intelligent dogs, and they have super smart, good noses. So we have a full dog kennel and training facility, and the main trainers are actually current combat veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq that were in the 75th Ranger Regiment. And it's good for the community, it's good for the veterans, and it's also something that we see in the future that can provide safety and jobs for people once we get the dog program figured out. We're working with the University of Arkansas to create a food protocol dog, like a hairnet for a dog. It's like a suit that the dog will wear, so we can bring the dogs into restaurants and food processing plants, and they won't get their hair out on anything. But these dogs are unbelievable. The ones, we also have some for bad guys. And we have these boxes we've made out of plywood that are 8 foot by 8 foot. So one of these guys can stand on top of an 8-foot box with a bite suit on, and we've got 2 dogs that could jump up and bite them and lock onto their arms, and they will not let go unless we choke them off. And we have cross-deputization agreements with the local highway patrol, the Kansas Highway Patrol, Marshal Service in Kansas and in Oklahoma. And when they have we send a dog when they do roadblocks for drugs. We found probably a ton of meth in the last couple of years. But we also have a couple dogs that are used to catch bad guys when they're on the run, and they've been very successful. We've had 2 good bites where a guy had shot a woman in the face with a shotgun, and he was on the run. They put those strips under his tires, and they popped them, and they swam across the river onto an island. We took our dog over, and announce over like a megaphone that if they didn't give up, they were going to release our dogs. And the bad guy screams out "F you," and we're like, okay. And that dog found the guy buried under a tree and pulled him out. Through a Carhartt jacket, he sank his teeth all the way to his bone on his forearm. And they're trained to bite you between the elbow and the shoulder. So once it pulled him out, it rebit through the jacket to the bone on his bicep. And I mean, he bites to the bone, and they will not let go. And they train him. They hit on him and beat him while they're holding on to the bad guy. And so the handler has to get behind him, and there's a technique to remove him. But the Marshal Service really likes us. When there's a bad guy on the run, we'll bring our dogs. And their dogs are sweet as can be when you're petting them, but when they're told they use like Danish terms, when they're turned on to go sick them, they turn into like demon dogs. And they're super scary, but it's good for the community. We've helped a lot of people find bad guys, and the bad guys know us now. They know when we're bringing our dogs that they need to turn themselves in.
Even at concerts, with the presence of the dogs, everybody stays very calm.
It's a crazy day and age, and we have a lot of people. We might have 10,000, 20,000 people at a concert. We don't want people to be in fear of something crazy happening. So we have the dogs out so people can see them.
Museum.
So we also, some other things we do, we have a museum, which Ardina is very much a part of, the cultural committee, which a lot of the people in the cultural committee came today. It's a beautiful site. They do storytelling there. We have a library inside of it, a museum. We have meetings there. They teach pottery there, teach language classes there. It's a very vibrant and busy building. Right next to it, we have a substance abuse. We have a methadone clinic that we service about 120 addicts in our process of using methadone. They use methadone now to get people off methamphetamine and off of this opioid epidemic when they get on heroin. And we make good money, but we help a lot of people in the community get off of these really hardcore drugs through this methadone clinic. That's the tribal headquarters where we have tribal administration. It's an older building.
This is where we're currently building our processing facility. We should have this facility completed early this summer. Like John mentioned, we're putting the steel structure up right now. This will be a state-of-the-art processing facility. It'll have, it's about 25,000 square feet. It has a test lab, test kitchen, training room. University of Arkansas is working with us on it. Oklahoma State University, Northeast Oklahoma State University, and Missouri State University. We have contracts with a couple of universities. One of them we'll be doing a feed trial with. We're providing cattle to Missouri State. They're going a research paper. They'll be feeding cattle several different ways, and then we'll process those cattle this fall in this new facility. The students will be able to come down, do carcass identification, carcass grading, meat science classes, lots of different training sessions. And then you can take the data back from the actual carcass ID and grading and put that back into their research and their feeding document to see how each feed trial performed on the same genetic type of cattle. So, it's a very interesting thing that we can do. And then the university will actually take some of the meat, use it in their facilities, and we will use the remainder in our facilities. So another good way we're working with universities. We actually have a class Thursday afternoon. NEO has a class. They're going to come down and start following our processing facility in a meat science class to see how the whole process evolves over the next couple semesters. This is a location where we're building, we're going to build onto this hay barn and do a commodity barn and feed pens. This facility will be adjacent to the processing facility, and we'll be able to bring animals in off of pasture, bring them into the pens and feed them, and then walk them right over to the processing facility. So it reduces stress and reduces transportation.
We're doing that with the Dale Bumper School at the University of Arkansas.
Next couple of slides are the same area. Talked about our feedlot. We have a lot of land there. It's about 440 acres on that property, so we've got land to grow. This is another building that we were able to rebuild after the tornado, after that devastating tornado. But this houses our own realty department and our environmental services department. That realty department manages tribal leases as well as tribe members' leases, and purchases. So we can do a multitude of things there and keep that in-house. The environmental department we do air sampling, water sampling. We do management of cleanup lands, mining lands. Each department has about a 10-person staff in there. This is one of our main facilities, a downstream casino and hotel. We did an addition on the back. We added a new event center and parking lot. The pavilion that's behind the main hotel there is about 20,000 square foot facility. And all those, matter of fact, all those laminated beams were made down here in Arkansas. They were all trucked up there on a truck and erected.
So our casinos in Oklahoma, parking lots in Kansas, and our driveways in Missouri.
Yeah, right on the corner. So if you get up that area, you'll.
So a lot of the construction we do now, that we did that ourselves, the expansion.
This one is our first phase of our tribal wellness center. It's the John L. Berry Wellness Center. We started with about a 6,000 square foot facility that had a aerobics area, weight machines, locker rooms, things like that. And then we were able to expand the next year and add an 11,000 square foot basketball gymnasium. And again, this is all for community as well. The local school, the first year and every year since, has had their prom in that gym. So it's a nicer facility than what the public school had. So those students are able to come down and enjoy the facilities. This is one of our Q stores. It's in Missouri actually, and it's right outside the downstream facility. This is about an 8,000 square foot facility, super clean, super nice. We get a lot of traffic out of that facility.
It's one of the top 10 convenience stores in the state of Missouri in terms of revenue. We do about $1.6 million a month in there. These are some of our Temple Grandin designed working facilities for our cattle operation and our bison operation. That's more of our pens that she helped design. It's all hydraulic, under roof. So as you can see, the Quapaw of today are just like the Quapaw of yesterday. We're agricultural people. We're very community minded. You don't have to be Quapaw for us to put you to work or for us to provide services. So just like the Quapaws at Arkansas Post that provided food for the French and the Spanish, we do the same thing today. We provide a lot of services in a rural part of Oklahoma that without us wouldn't have those services. We take a lot of pride in that, and we care a lot about the people that are in our community. We're not just Quapaw-centric. And I think a lot of that comes from the